I've been consistently drawing now for about 5 years, and in this video I want to share how my art style has changed and what I think has helped me on my art style journey, how to get an art style, and some tips to develop your own. I started taking art seriously in January 2019 when I started with watercolour and pencils. So I was posting my work in progress and finished illustrations to my Instagram account. Back then I was drawing like every single day for about a year to 2 years, but nowadays it's not as often, although I do still draw consistently. But it is easier to post every day when you do small drawings that don't take too much time, or you just post some of your art process or behind the scenes as well. That takes some of the pressure off to finish a new drawing every single day, which by the way I don't recommend because that would be a lot of work. I used to be a creative child, although through my teenage years until I was 29 years old, I would only ever see it as a hobby and maybe draw once or twice a year. And I wasn't very good at drawing back then. I didn't know the proper ways to draw a person, so there was a lot for me to learn over the years, and there's still a lot for me to learn right now. I believe developing your art style and growing as an artist will always be ongoing. You'll never get to a certain point and think that's it, I've made it. You're always changing and learning new things, and your art style changes too as you grow older and you gain new interests. I think that taking part in drawing challenges can really help us learn to get better and finding our style. There's loads of drawing prompt lists that I see artists host on Instagram, and there's also seasonal ones like Inktober or Mermaid. There's also this one called Draw It In Your Style Challenge, which is really fun to take part in. You basically just redraw a character from the artist's picture that they post where they host the challenge, and then you can redraw it in your own creative way, which can really just help you figure out what your style is like. Some characters I have just redrawn them almost the same as the original, which I think is okay if your style is really similar to them, or maybe you're just learning and at the beginning stages. But as you do go on, I think it's good to push your creativity and think how you would put your own spin on that character and make it your own, which is something I really pushed myself to do the more that I took part in them. As I changed from traditional to drawing on the iPad with Procreate, it felt like I had loads more learning to do because now I needed to understand how to use the Procreate app as well. This is actually my very first digital drawing I did on Procreate, which I tried to keep it pretty simple, but I was definitely lacking knowledge of how to draw faces and hair. I love drawing on the iPad though, and using the Apple Pencil almost felt like I was drawing traditionally. When I got the iPad, I started sharing my digital art and traditional still, until at a point I just decided that I just wanted to stick with Procreate because that is something that I just loved a lot. My art style has definitely changed over the years after lots and lots of drawing, trials and errors, and also me just figuring out what things I like when I draw. As you repeat certain elements in your drawing, it becomes recognisable as your artwork. You might not notice it at first, but it will stand out over time. Art style can be formed from many different things, like the way you do your line art, the colours that you choose, the art medium, or the subject that you love to draw. There are definitely ways to get an art style fast if you want to stand out, or maybe for business purposes, but otherwise just keep experimenting with things and figuring out what you like, and your style will develop over time. And then as you look back at your journey, you might notice certain things that stand out in your work that you didn't see before. Most of the time as an artist, you probably already have an art style. It comes through who you are as a person, what you're personally interested in, your values, and your lifestyle choices. That's why art style is always changing and evolving as you are growing as a person. Everyone's art style is unique to them, as no one else can be you. As an artist, we can overlook the details of our work and we don't always notice an art style show through, but to other people, they will notice something about your work that makes it stand out, even if you don't. I wouldn't worry about trying to find an art style, but just draw what you want to draw, what you love, and also be creative. Don't worry too much about rules and guidelines, even though it's good to use them if you want to draw realistic or something, but otherwise just enjoy the journey and just keep learning to be a bit better every day. As long as you're having fun with your art, that's the important thing. And don't be scared to post bad art along with the good. You're on a journey, so embrace it. So, a few tips and reminders on how to find your art style. I would just keep drawing a lot every day if you can, even if it's just a quick 5-minute sketch. Keep the momentum going and don't overthink it, just draw and have fun. Experiment with different mediums like watercolour, digital art, pencils or markers. There will be something that sticks and that you enjoy the most, but you'll never know until you try it. At the beginning stages of your art journey, this is the fun part to try different things, so embrace it as you're trying to find out what you love and enjoy the most. Over time, you can look back at your artwork and see if there's any repeating elements that maybe you like to draw, like little hearts on the illustrations. Maybe you have a particular texture that you like to use, or maybe it's like you always like using pastel colours. When you judge your own artwork, your thoughts and opinions can change as you stare at it for like really long periods of time. And because you stare at it too long, you will find more things wrong with it than good. But once you have found things that you love using or doing in your art, and you notice that you do it a lot, you could intentionally start using these as part of your art style. You can start niching down to just like one medium, maybe niche down to a particular colour palette or a type of artwork, so like oil paintings, children's books or editorial. Allow yourself time and patience to find your art style though, and there's no need to rush. Like I said, it's always ongoing and always going to be changing, unless you intentionally want to find a style and stick with it for business reasons or something. But for most artists, it's a bit hard to stick with just one particular thing or put ourselves into a box. That's when we would start to lose inspiration or get bored. Then art block hits. Or even worse, you lose that excitement for it completely and it becomes a backseat in your life again. Allow yourself to change paths if you want to as well. If you feel like you found something you enjoy, but then realise down the line that you want to change again, that's okay. There's no one telling you to keep to one specific thing. You are allowed to change lanes if you want to. You are in control of your artwork and what you do with it, so have fun. I hope you like the new version of my girl portrait, by the way, that I've redrawn in this video. So I redrew this from the first illustration 5 years ago, my first ever one on Procreate. So let me know what you think in the comments if you like it. And I'll see you all with another video very soon.